I just wanted to basically apologize for not being on much. Um, all I can really say is chronic illness is a bitch, and when it includes pain, it's really difficult to keep anything on track. Part of the reason I wanted to start this channel is that I had time. Because I'm not able to work because of illness, I thought this was something I would be able to keep up with because it's not very physically demanding. But it turns out it uses a lot of spoons and it can be exhausting and much more time consuming than I expected. And I have a tendency to lose track of days when I'm not feeling well. I can literally go a week without realizing that that much time has passed, and that's just life. I know one of the most important things for a new channel is consistency. So it just sucks that this is the situation I'm in. I have a few things that I've been recording. I'm a little off track with the reviews. I started including clips of the people I was reviewing, and I liked that. I think that worked well. But then I got caught up in capturing too much and too much of the story they were telling rather than just having the clip show their personality and the person I'm talking about. And I need to go over, I have one on Rotten Mango and one on Christina Randall, and I need to go through hours of clips because in addition to chronic illness, I do have OCD, and that can make editing and narrowing things down difficult. I want to capture everything and I want to get it exactly right, and I need to let go of that. So I watched hours and hours and hours, and that took up weeks, and I recorded, and then I put in clips, and then I have all of these other clips that I want to use because they're funny or endearing or poignant, and I need to cut them. I need to keep these reviews short. I don't really want to go over half an hour per person unless there's some really specific reason to do so. And I can't do that when I have 20 minutes of myself talking about them and 3 hours of clips from their videos. So I need to work on that. I've got a video. It started about a magazine article and a victim's response to the true crime world, to people picking apart her life and her experience. It sounds like she's really gone through the bad side of true crime and had a lot of vultures just tearing her story apart. And that rambling somehow turned into talking about Ted Bundy, who I feel more connection with than I would like. I might post that if I can clean it up and make it coherent in any way. Yeah, I want to get back to posting at least every week. I want something new going up beyond the little brain teasers, which I think are fun, but that's not what I'm doing this for. I want to be creating a community to talk about true crime, to talk about these issues. I will try to get on some kind of schedule that works. I'm usually up nights. It's hard to record. I'm in a lot of positional pain. I can't really sit or stand or anything. Even laying on my side is probably best, but that starts to hurt after a while, and now I have this vascular thing going on in my left leg and I can't touch my legs together, so that's fun. Anyway, so it's been health issues, and those are not resolved, so I am not promising that I will definitely do better, but I think through some effort and organization will be key. I think I can start getting some stuff done. I have to edit my mind before the videos. I have to not, watch 80 videos of a person to do a review. I'm going to limit it, I think, to their most recent, their first, and maybe most popular, unless there's like some particular clip I'd like to use, like Stephanie Harlow's reading of Letitia Stout's letter to the judge. I know if I do Stephanie Harlow, I have to use that clip. And that's going to take me a while to find. But I can't just watch videos looking for clips because there's just too much. And I can't narrow it down. And that has me stalled. And given the limitations I already have, I need to stop stalling myself. I started recording the This Day in History in June last year. And it didn't work. I couldn't keep up with the days. I kept recording for the 4th, and I didn't get it edited in time, and yeah, I need to record far ahead. I need to research further ahead than I was doing the first time I tried it, because I do really want to get back to that. And I still have the recordings from last June, so maybe I'll start again in June. Stay safe, listen to your instincts, and if you have any tips for keeping an OCD brain focused on a limited topic, please write me. All right, bye. Addresses some ethical issues in true crime. I've had it saved for a while and I finally just got around to reading it. It has interviews with a variety of people from different aspects. A few of them are victims and a few are creators. I've said before that I think it's really important to ask yourself why you're consuming true crime, what you get out of this. And the aspects of feeling a sense of knowing what you would do in a situation are addressed. The fact that the audience is primarily women. Crime, including murder, has gone down quite a bit over the last 20 years. We are safer, but true crime can make us almost live in a state of paranoia if we get too into it. I think we need to be listening to the victims. Those who try to be respectful of victims can still miss things. One of the clearest points in this article is that some want to be left alone and others want their story told. TikTok is a great platform for people to get out their own message, for family members to show their missing relatives, for former victims to discuss the story from their own perspective, rather than having the internet take their story apart piece by piece, often adding in ridiculous theories and conspiracies and taking it far away from what actually happened. True crime needs to not just be victim focused, but victim directed. We need to be listening more. We need to try to let people tell their own stories as much as possible. No one should have to deal with trolls. Nobody should have to deal with victim blaming. None of that bullshit should be happening, but it does. Fortunately, most of the time I see it, I also see other viewers calling it out, and I think that's really important. And I think if I had a story of mine posted and talked about, even if I were uncomfortable with it, I would take some comfort in seeing that not everyone is a vulture. Especially when a case is really big, it can be curiosity that drives people to watch true crime stories about the case, no matter how far from reality they get. people just want information. They want to know how something happened, why it happened, what led up to it, what could have been done differently. And of course, the question of what could have been done differently walks a very fine line with victim blaming. We can and should learn from cases, but we can't blame the victim. It is always the fault of the perpetrator. Always. No matter what the victim did or said or didn't say or didn't do, it is always on the perpetrator. No matter what. There are things we can do to keep ourselves safer, things that are high risk and low risk, and there really shouldn't be. Ideally, we would live in a world where a woman can jog at night alone in shorts and a tank top and be perfectly safe. We don't live in that world. And so she shouldn't wear shorts. She shouldn't jog alone. She shouldn't jog after dark, and definitely shouldn't be wearing headphones. And it's all on her rather than on some person that might attack her. That whole mindset needs to change. And I think, in my experience, people in the true crime community are less likely to victim blame. They're more understanding, they're more aware. But there are people out there who do look for reasons to blame someone for being in a situation that shouldn't exist. It's stupid for me to even post right now that victim blaming is wrong, but it happens so frequently. Sometimes even people who are trying to respect the victim get a little far from telling the victim's story. It can become more about the perpetrator. There are those channels out there that will glamorize a perpetrator. I don't understand that. There's that Ted Bundy thing. Please don't glamorize Ted Bundy. Don't glamorize any of them. If they're killing someone, there's something wrong with them. There is something in the brain that is not functioning the way it's supposed to. And it doesn't matter what they look like. The only thing to take from the fact that Ted Bundy wasn't ugly is that anyone could be a killer. And really, I have said this many times before, you are far more at risk through domestic violence or drunk drivers of being killed than you are a serial killer. And I live in Washington. It's not like they're particularly rare here, but even as a place where for some reason serial killers tend to thrive, we still don't have that much risk that we're living with. So if you're terrified a serial killer is going to get you, you probably have nothing to worry about. Basic safety precautions that shouldn't be necessary because there shouldn't be serial killers out there. And you'll probably be fine. Just keep an eye on your surroundings. You shouldn't have to. I really want to live in a world where I can have my headphones on and be outside at night, where I can let my niece go check the mail at night and feel safe and not, keep an eye on the clock to make sure she's not taking too long. So this is kind of bouncing around and rambling, and I don't know if there's really a theme here. So I don't know if this will ever get put together as a video. I'll go over that article when I have my notebook with me. And I'm also going to check out her essay. I really want to hear what she has to say, because my hope is to put out content that encourages ethical, true crime content. I don't want to be part of anything that causes further pain to victims. I don't want to force people to relive something that they aren't ready for, they aren't prepared for. I definitely don't want to change the facts to try to up my clicks. I don't want to support anyone who does that. I almost feel like it should just be left to the family members and survivors, and everybody else should get out of their way and shut up. But most of us have experienced things, and we have a valid point of view, and we want to tell their stories in a respectful way. But if someone requests their story not be told, I don't think it should be told. I don't care if it's your video that is doing 10 times better than your next best video. If a victim or their family member asks you to take it down, you should take it down. I just think we have to do our best to share these stories, learn what we can from them. We are vultures. We are picking the pieces and feeding off what these people have been through. We might be taking an understanding of how the psyche of a killer performs, or we might be taking safety tips, things that can keep us safe, or we may be taking a sense that just knowing about this case makes us feel more safe. Or we might be taking something that we want to share to try to help identify a victim or find a missing person. We are stripping these victims, and often we have good intentions and we are doing good, and it is helpful and it is useful, but we can't forget we are taking from their story and their life, and we are using it for our own means. And because of that, it shouldn't matter how important a video might be to you. It should always be the victim's right to decline having their story told. And I also think if a victim wishes to speak personally, that should be the first person we're listening to about a case. We might want to get different perspectives, want to hear from different people, but a surviving victim or their family member should have some kind of control over a case. There are laws about using likenesses and, having to pay for permission to use people's stories, but they don't really apply to anything that is said to be done for educational purposes. So creators can pretty much do whatever they want. The majority of creators I watch are doing things ethically. I think I'm going to be giving a little bit more thought to the victim's perspective and thinking of it more as we are taking from them, and we might not intend to hurt, and we might do good with what we take, but that's not necessarily good enough. Certainly not if they're saying that they don't want their story told. It should be up to them. Okay, so I'm going to spend a lot of time editing this, figuring out what it's actually about. Am I complaining about Bundy and this weird fascination some people have with him? Am I talking about this article in the Daily Dot and things I wanted to quote from that, but I can't because I don't have it in front of me? Or am I talking about victim blaming and the wrongs of true crime ethics? Or am I talking about true crime viewership and what we owe to the victims that we're taking a story from? I don't know. I have no idea what this is. It's just thoughts. Stay safe, listen to your instincts, and I will be back soon. Bye. I don't want to be a vulture. I know this doesn't apply to me as much as it does some people because I don't really do cases, but if I've ever said or presented anything that anyone out there who is a survivor or a family member of a victim feels was insensitive or inappropriate in any way, first of all, I apologize right now. That was not my intent. But if you contact me, I will apologize more specifically if I know what I did. And I will certainly always take any content down that a victim or a family member has a problem with. I think intent matters quite a bit, but we all make mistakes, and I really don't want to hurt anyone. If you ever see anything that seems like it might be a problem, or I mean, it could be as simple as I misspoke something, but let me know, please. It's not my intention, and it's not what I want this channel to be. I really want this to be a place for the true crime community to discuss the various issues that are part of this little sub-world that we're in. And I've never thought of myself as a vulture until reading that. And, you know, we are feeding off crime. We are feeding off victims, especially those who do cases. But at the same time, that can be nourishment. It doesn't have to necessarily be a negative. It can be feeding to do positive things. I don't know, I've heard people referred to as vultures before, but for some reason this one hit me a little bit harder. It's not just entertainment. There's a whole genre of fictional crime and mystery stories that are great if you just want entertainment. If you're watching true crime, I think it's really important to keep the true part in mind. And, you know, these victims go through things that are traumatic, and if they survive, I don't blame them for not wanting their story told and picked apart, even if it's, you know, a case that is going through the courts and is publicly available. Some people just want it to be kept private. They might just want to move on. They might be going through therapy and working on it and just aren't ready to see it. They might just not want to see their story dissected and splashed around the internet. I can't blame anyone for that. So if you're a creator, please keep that in mind. If you're a viewer, keep it in mind. I think of myself more as viewer than creator, and I want this to become a community for those in the true crime subgenre who want to talk about these things and talk about the pitfalls and lessons and strengths of true crime. It can do good things. We might be gaining a lot of knowledge, but we are taking it from someone else. And I think we owe that person a lot of respect and compassion and empathy. And yeah, sometimes that means not covering it. I'm kind of glad I don't cover cases. I do have a few in mind that are personal to me, very, very personal to me. But I really think, as much as I love it, I feel like the true crime world is oversaturated and repetitive. And if I don't have something new to bring to a story, I don't really see the point in covering it. The 3 people I know who were killed, I do have a different perspective. And there's one more case that I didn't know personally, but it's local to me, and I feel like that has never been even acknowledged as a criminal case, but it it's another one I would do if I were to do actual case coverage. But I'm not interested in just rehashing the same information that's already out there. If I don't have something new, I'm not going to do it. And I don't have anything new. So I'm just here, available to chat about anything in the true crime arena with anyone who's interested. Okay. Stay safe, listen to your instincts, and I will be back soon. Bye. The second highest Okay. That's weird.